Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Friday. That means it's another edition of Kiwanis Connects, coming to you live from the WWDBTV studios in the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada. I am Aaron Phillips, and of course, that bright, shiny, smiling face, the leader that is in charge of the Cal Neva District. That's right. It is none other than, with working computers this week, Governor Val. Now I just jinxed it. Good morning, Gov.
Aloha. I'm so glad to see you and hear you.
Okay. That's a good thing. Although John just yelled at me for jinxing it by saying how great it is to have you connected. So if you drop off, it's my fault. Anyway,
by the way, you know that like 3 times fast.
Yeah. Well, if being from the Jewish religion, in order to fix that, we would go boop boop. Boop, boop. You know, we would kind of like dispel the devils away. Mm-hmm. Anyway, thank everybody for watching. If you're watching us on Facebook, of course, you're already there. Thank you so much. If you prefer YouTube, you can go there too. Just check out the Kiwanis Connect show. WWDBTV, both outlets as well. If you miss everything, you can go back to those channels. But if you have Roku, download the WWDBTV channel to Roku. Not only will you be able to watch this show, but you'll have a lot of choices of shows you can watch as many times as you want to. And if you're listening to us on the app, if you're driving around town, like back east, where Dennis is, it's 3 hours ahead. He's getting ready for lunch. Montana, I think it's snack time. Here in Vegas, we're just doing our coffee. You can download the WWDBTV TV app to your Android, WWDBTV LV to your iPhone, or call us, 702-992-3207. I did all that in one breath, so if I'm matching my shirt right now, you'll know why. Gov, how was your week?
Oh, my goodness. It has been off the hook, full of firsts. I actually rode a trolley in San Diego to a Padres game.
Woo!
I was not their good luck charm. The Mariners just tore it up.
I think the Padres need a lot of good luck charms, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, that's a whole nother show. And Mama Flo says hello to everybody. She's doing a lot better than she was before, so I'm feeling really good about that.
Excellent.
And so I am so glad that we have this show today because we have 2 people online that I am so excited about. And we have one that may pop in. But, you know, Aaron, it's always good to see you. It's always good to see you.
Thank you. Well, same here. It's always good to be seen because it beats the alternatives of not being seen. So, you know, as long as I'm seen, that's a good way to start when I see my face in the mirror every morning. Yeah, so we got a lot to go today. We have some guests of a certain level that rarely most people get a chance to talk to more than anything else. Most of them, I remember when I was in Kiwanis, people in these positions were like out there. You know, they were just like, oh, yeah, I know the titles. You know, maybe I'll meet the people someday. But here we are today. We're bringing some of these people forward. So, Val, why don't you kind of set the stage as to who our guests are and why they're coming on, for that matter?
Well, we've got this little event called International Convention happening a little bit later this month, and it's going to be in Minnesota. And so I thought, who better to have than the candidates for our international trustees. And the reason is because all of that Kiwanis international work that gets done is done by the international trustees. It's kind of the unsung heroes of our organization. And so we have some fabulous candidates this year. I've asked over 200 of our district Kiwanians to be there to vote for them. And so as I look at these folks, you talk about people in the upper stratosphere of our organization. I feel like, oh my goodness, with these folks, they're more like family and friends, and they love our district. And so one of my friends then bring it on is Kathy Tutty. And Kathy will tell us a little bit about ourselves. I don't want to blow her cover. And we also have Dennis with us. And Dennis and I have known each other almost, I would say 8 years, but maybe Dennis can correct me when it comes on. And we just thought, let's talk to them and find out, you know, what their aspirations are for our international district and go forward.
I would be very surprised to hear them say the reason they're running is because they missed the poker game. And so because they missed the poker game, this is their penance. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely not.
We're gonna bring him in now to join this crazy conversation. So there's Dennis, there's Kathy. Good morning, guys. Welcome to Kiwanis Connects.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
So, what did you guys,
Mahalo.
what did you guys have to do to decide to, or did you lose the poker game? That's what I want to know.
What
Go
did we
ahead, Bob.
do? My turn, yeah. The coincidence is, it's kind of interesting. In my career, I don't know if I've ever seen it before, but Kathy and I both served as governors together. And so we've looked at this process. I think our districts thought enough about us to ask us to move forward. And that's kind of how I got here, and I was pleased that they asked, and I searched it out, and I did the number one thing that a good husband does, and asked my wife, is it okay? And
The real boss.
She gave her blessings. And so I've been very supported by her. Kathy's seen her a lot of times. If you've been to conventions, you've seen her. Val's seen her. She's part of my life. So we're looking forward to this journey together and see what happens on the 25th of June.
Right on. How about you, Kathy?
I don't play poker. Well, I haven't played poker in a long time.
I was like, don't go telling story.
we play Tripoli at our house. So I'm one of 9 kids. So you have to find something that you can do with a little more spread out around the table than just a poker game. I don't have a husband that I have to check in with. My mom moved 64 miles away from me on my birthday 3 years ago, so I don't even have to check in with her anymore.
Wow.
But I have the blessing or the curse, depending on your view, of having grown up 2 blocks away from Dave Curry, who's one of our past international presidents. And he's the oldest of a big Irish Catholic family here in Butte with red hair. And I'm the oldest of a big Irish Catholic family here in Butte with red hair. And he said, he actually asked me when we were at our governor-elect training if I would keep an eye on what I was going to do next. And I said, I'm going to have time to myself. My phone's going to stop ringing. I'm going to be able to get some work done at my house, And he said, well, there might be something else. And so I'm really encouraged by the people who've gone before me, who I get to kind of model myself after. There's a guy named Rick Pfeiffer from Helena, Montana. His dad was a trustee, and Rick came up to me at the Montana Folk Festival a year ago and said, hey, you going to run for international office? And I said, well, maybe if the district endorses me, I am. And he said, I think that'd be great. I'll go to convention just to vote for you if I can. So it's kind of neat to have that kind of like Val said, it's really like family. You're just hanging out with people. And it's funny that you're saying we're upper echelon, because I feel like anything but an upper echelon person. So like I'm the kid on Hornet Street in Butte, Montana. Like what do I know from upper echelon? But there you go.
I just want to clarify, Kathy, are you originally from Montana, or where'd you?
Yeah, I grew up right here. Yeah, I actually live 5 blocks north and 2 blocks west of where I grew up.
Gotcha.
Wow.
5 north, 2 houses west. Sorry, 2 houses.
Gotcha.
West.
And Dennis, you're originally from Chicago?
No, I'm really originally from Virginia, but then I moved to Iowa. I lived in Iowa 15 years or 17 years, and then moved back there when I retired. My kids are all in Virginia.
Gotcha. My eye caught the international convention in Chicago. That's the word that I picked up in my eyes. So you guys are well rooted in the community with which you have been involved in Kiwanis a long time. And I think, Val, that speaks a lot when you have folks like this, like yourself from California. You know the community well. I mean, I'm out here 25 years from New Jersey, so I feel like I'm a local at this point. But to have individuals like the 3 of you who are so well rooted in the community that you reside in, to take such an interest, not only by becoming a Kiwani that very first day, but by continuing to advance your Kiwanis career to higher aspirations to make even that much more of an impact, I think is very, very commendable at the very least.
I think that they're absolutely amazing, because when you get to the level of wanting to represent at the international level, it's more than just your local area, but it's saying that you want to shape the whole tenor of what Kiwanis looks like. And so I'm going to toss my challenge coin. Who's got heads and who's got tails? Kathy, what do you want? Heads or tails?
Heads.
Okay, Dennis, what do you want?
I'll take tails.
Well,
Yeah, it's
you
a good
picked tails, yeah.
choice.
Right. All right.
Well thought out. That's
Yeah,
I thought
that
that was
was
a Vegas trick or something. I didn't know.
That was just, that was just well done. So
I
as
was
I
talking about.
flip my coin, so we got tails going on here. So Dennis, it's like if you were to think about what your legacy is going to be in Kiwanis, it's like, and you've got this vision. You're looking at your compass. What do you want that to be? Does that incorporate what you've already done as governor and where you're headed?
Sure.
Pretty heavy
I
question.
think that, again, if things work out, and I'll speak to it from being on the board perspective, if it works out and I get elected, I think that my legacy would be that I listened to the governors that I counsel. I listen to their districts. I hear what they have to say. I communicate that to the board. I have an open dialogue. Yes, any board has stuff that you can't automatically talk about the next day. There's procedures and there's protocols, but I think that line of communications is extremely important. I was blessed to have a good trustee counselor that I could do that with. And I think that's paramount. I think also right now, as we're moving forward, the board needs to be good stewards of our money. We need to make sure that our financiers are being spent adequately, that there's accountability, and that that'll be something I'll be looking at, for the next 3 years as a member, as well as a member of the board that does form some direction on how expenses are done. I think those would be the main things as I think about it, offhand. The other thing, I guess the last thing would be that we as a board work as a team, that we're not individuals, we're not one person. Yes, we're one person on the board, but we can communicate with each other and work as a team for the best and the good of Kiwanis.
I'm loving it. And so, I really love that fact about working as a team, but I also know that, Kathy, you and I have traveled the globe together, and in traveling the globe, you've already set some pretty big footprints for those of us that might want to follow behind you. So how much bigger are those footprints going to be? And I'm going positive, Dennis, for both of you, that when you are international trustees, because I know I have my magic globe, that when you are international trustees, Kathy, what's that legacy button look like for you?
Well, first, Val, thanks for the vote of confidence. I appreciate that. I'm a little bit Irish and a little superstitious, so I talk about if and not when, and then I get corrected by my campaign team to say when. It's like, no, I'm Irish. I say if. And when I'm at the meetings on the 26th of June, we'll understand, right? So, yeah, I think the first time I met you was at a formula training in Las Vegas, which was that was within the first year of my membership in Kiwanis.
Wow.
I was a brand new member when I went there. And so I've been a member of Kiwanis for 10 whole years. So I'm not an old timer. I'm not I've been here since I was, Jesus was a corporal, it's like, I just got here, and the thing that being from the community I'm from and having the kind of relationships that I have, there are two things that I think are critical to being someone in a leadership role to share for others. The first is the background and relationship. If I am assigned to a district and I show up at that district, like, okay, here I am. What do where are you going to use me? There's no relationship there. So for me, it's establishing relationship with the people that I'm going to be interacting with on the board, in the districts, in the clubs, in the divisions. I come from a district that has 39 clubs. I know that there are some districts that have 39 divisions. So there's a big difference. Yeah, exactly. There's a big difference in how we function and how we operate. And there's no difference because the other side of that, the second side is that we all have stories. There are stories about being a Kiwanian and stories for us to tell, and we don't tell them. We don't tell them. We're really bad. So what can we do to ensure that we're telling the story of everything that there is that makes an impact? Who's the kid who hooked you and got you into Kiwanis and had you stay there? What's the project that you will not miss no matter what? What social event do you guys do to make sure that everybody gets a chance to play? So, and then underneath all of that, I think what binds us all together is that we love people.
Yes.
And mostly we love kids. And my assertion is that whether you're 2 or 92, there's a kid in you.
I like that. I like that. By the way, we're going to step aside for our first break, but I do want to mention the comment you just said, Kathy, about, liking people, I think is very true. It makes it easier to do things for others. However, there are exceptions to every rule. Like right now, I really don't like my producer, John, because what you guys are not able to see from behind where you are, he's over there trying to crack me up with jokes and all sorts of stuff to test me. So if every once in a while you see me kind of doze away like this with a little smirk, it has nothing to do with you guys. It's John. So right now I'm not liking him very much. Anyway, with that.
And here I thought you were smiling at us.
Well, I always smile. When I'm smiling at you, I'm looking this way. If you're looking this way, I don't want to disrespect you by smiling at a time I shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? And that would be all John's fault. Anyway, thank you for watching Kiwanis Connects. We're going to show you all the commercial about the tool that the commercial, but in that commercial is you're going to run the customized commercial, right?
The commercial about the commercial.
The commercial about the commercial. So I'm going to ask Kathy and Dennis to pay attention to this because this is stuff clubs in your districts can certainly have available. Thank you for watching. We'll be right back.
Aloha. I am so glad to be able to invite you to Kiwanis Connects on WWDBTV because we have some fascinating shows going on. And so join us on Fridays at 9 a.m. And if you can't join us then, look at all the different links of where you can find us to see the different amazing shows that I do with Aaron and all the crew at WWDBTV.com.
Thank you, Governor Val, for that great message. Good morning, everybody. I'm Aaron Phillips, co-host of Kiwanis Connects with Governor Val, and this message is for all of you great lieutenant governors here in the Cal Neva District. As a reminder, we created a Kiwanis commercial that is dedicated to the clubs here in the Cal Neva District. You've seen it talked about, you've seen it on the show, and on the heels of a recent episode where we talked about branding, a commercial we think is a pretty good tool for you all to have. Now, I want to remind everybody, and there are two options that you can take advantage of. Number one, you could take the existing commercial and simply brand it with your club's information at the end of the message. That's $75 to make that edit. Real simple, and contributions do go to Governor Val Direct to maintain the popular Kiwanis Connect show. Now, if you'd like something a little more detailed and customized with your club specific and pictures and everything that's going on, well, we can do that too. There's three options there. For a 30-second commercial, it's $200. 60-second commercial is $250. And if you'd like 90 seconds to deliver the message, that's only $300. All the work is done here at Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Studios with your support. And reach out to me and I can give you all that information. Email me at KiwanisConnectsInfo@gmail.com. That's KiwanisConnectsInfo@gmail.com. Continued success for the rest of this administrative year and the future for your clubs. And I look forward to seeing you all at the district convention in August. Thank you, Lieutenant Governors. We appreciate your time and effort. All right, welcome back to Kiwanis Connects. That was a pretty good commercial, wasn't it?
That's pretty
Great.
good. Yeah, I like the shirt.
Oh, well, that's my Purple Passion shirt for Governor Val. Wait till district convention to see the pictures. I got the jacket that matches that son of a gun that I got to wear when I MC her dinner Thursday night. But anyway, thank you so much. But seriously, that's a great tool that I ask you to please feel free to offer to your divisions, your lieutenant governors, their clubs. It can be made specifically for anybody within the KI world. All right, we are back. We are talking. We have a couple of great guests here that are talking about the role of Kiwanis International Trustee. We have Dennis and Kathy. Kathy from the Montana District, Dennis from the Capital District, and I'm here from the Sin City District, and Val, of course, is the head cheese here for Cal Neva. So, Val, I'll turn it back over to you.
I was just thinking we were talking about from 92 to 92. And when you think about a district that does have 39 divisions and over 10,000 members, what if you were to win that little lottery card that says you would be our trustee counselor? What are some of the things that you think you would be able to do for a district like ours? And I'm going to go with Dennis. Actually, I went with Dennis because he won last time. So, Kathy.
Well, the first thing that came to my head was listen. Who are the districts? What are divisions? What do they have going on? I mean, I've been to Hawaii. I've been to California. I've been to Nevada. I could have assumptions about all of those, but what assumptions I make may have nothing to do with what happens in those divisions in those clubs and in that district. So I think the important thing would be to really just listen first. For me, the being able to share that story and inspiring people about who they are and what they can provide, because there isn't a single person who's a member of a Kiwanis club who couldn't be in any one of the positions that we're in. Not one. And there's no reason not to inspire and motivate those people to be in a succession somewhere, to, take over a project, take over a club, take over a division, take over a district. It's been a long time since there was competition for some positions around the country, and there's some that we don't fill. And it's not because we don't have people who are capable. I think part of it is not having people who are inspired and encouraged enough. And I think that's one of the biggest breakdowns that we have is really instilling that leadership and moving people through ranks and out into the community. We've done some things with other organizations, with Optimus or with Rotary or with Exchange. Mm-hmm. And the more we do together, the more we accomplish. It's not like, well, this is ours. It's actually an exponential difference that we can make if we work together.
Sounds good. And so, Dennis, you won that lottery card, and CNH is one of the districts that you get to counsel. Unfortunately, you don't get to counsel me, which would have been the best year for you ever. But how would you approach it?
Again, I think, when you listen, some people have heard before that the word listen also has the word silent in it. If you rearrange the letters. And so many times people claim they listened, but they don't keep their mouth shut, and they don't hear what's actually being heard. In my career, I did a lot of staff development, and I think nonverbals tell you more sometimes than actually what people are saying. And so, when you have the opportunity to come out and visit with your district, you've hopefully developed that relationship with the governor, you've developed that relationship with the board, that you can hear and see what they want and what they need. I think that with my background in developing the Kiwanis Club coaching program, I think that would be a valid tool in indoctrinating. I know Cal Neva's done a great job with it over the years, as far as using club coaches. And I think that is a valuable program that we just don't use enough. So many times, people will go in and they'll again, like I said earlier, tell and tell and tell rather than hearing what people need to. It's suggestions. My philosophy is you can only make a concerted decision when all the stuff's on the table. And you just start, once you put it on the table, you pick and choose what works for that particular location. Like I said, Capital's got 5 jurisdictions now since we took in West Virginia. We have 4 states in the District of Columbia. Every corner of those states is different, just like I know Cal Neva is the same way. And so you can't go in with one size fits all. And hopefully with my experience and my background, I can work with the governor and the board to brainstorm things that I've seen around the country that they have there to make Cal Neva better than it is that you've made it right now. And it's good now, it's great now, everything can be better the next day. We just see what happens. And one last thing I'll say on that too that I've learned is what happened yesterday we can't undo, but we can learn by what we did yesterday, and then we make it better tomorrow. And I think that's my approach to how to work with districts and how to work with boards and so forth.
I just want to acknowledge while you guys, when Kathy was talking about being to all these different locations, I don't know if you guys saw it, she mentioned Nevada. And our dear Lieutenant Governor Maritza here in Southern Nevada chimed in the chat room shortly after John said, what happens in Vegas doesn't always stay in Vegas. However, most of the time it does. So Maritza was right on that, Kathy. So you see our audience is listening. Dennis, I want to go back to something, well, actually both of you said about how different divisions, districts are in different corners of your area. Using Las Vegas as an example, you got one side of town have one need, and the other side of town has a totally different need, and here we are in the same town. Yeah. And when our clubs here, I was a member of a club called the Lakes Kiwanis, or Kiwanis Club of the Lakes, which was up near the Summerlin side of town. And one of our great projects every year is we were putting together Thanksgiving basket for the holidays for families in need. And we would always get pushback by people saying, there can't be anybody in need because they live in Summerlin. You're in the Summerlin area. And so we would respond to those people by simply saying, need is not designed by zip code. Mm-hmm. So I love the fact that there's that diversity in every town, every corner, every neighborhood is totally different, but yet you look right across the street from each other and it could be raining there and sunshiny over here, and you're in the same block on the same town. So for me, that kind of put all that in perspective.
That's a very good way of saying it. I agree. And so many times, traditionally, people want things to be the same for everybody, but in today's world, and if I don't mind, I'll take a minute to two. When I was governor, both Kathy and I were governor during COVID. We did not get out to travel like we could, and that was very devastating. However, I decided, let's see, for my board meeting in March, let me go back and look and see what I've done since December. I had 4 pages of single space things that I did, through Zoom. I did make some visits, once the mask rule came off, or not the mask, but the travel rule. But again, I learned that you have to do things differently. You have to be innovative in the method, in the way you proceed. And it's all about how you serve the kids. Every community is different. Every community has a different need for their kids. And we have to appreciate that and accept things are different.
Even within small communities, they're different. Because, Aaron, I live in a town of 30,000 people, and we have 3 clubs. And each club has a very distinct personality.
And it should. The club should be their own personality, the people that are in it.
Right. And different commitments and different intentions and different places that, they want to make an impact. And learning to innovate. My favorite part of telling you how I learned to innovate is that family I grew up with. When I was 9, number 8 was born. So I had my mom and my dad and 8 kids.
Wow.
We had 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. You walked through my mom and dad's bedroom to get to the bathroom, and the girls were in one bedroom and the boys were in the other. When I was a senior, number 8 was in the 1st grade. So all 10 of us had to be out the door every morning at 8 o'clock.
Wow.
When there's one bathroom and 10 people, you got to learn how to innovate and make things work. You just have to.
Just curious, what was the split boys to girls of the 9 of you?
Girl, boy, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl.
So it's 5.
I don't. Yeah, we lost. My brother Kevin died the day he was born.
Oh, sorry.
Second to last.
Gotcha. Okay.
But, it was like.
Yeah. Gotcha. Wow. That would cause a little cross-street traffic there in the bathroom. I can understand that.
Occasionally, we did go across the street because the McGee's had 10 kids, but they had 2 bathrooms. So we'd go borrow the McGee's extra bathroom.
There you go.
I have to tell you, I have first world trauma when I go into, like we have an apartment and we only have one bathroom. There's 2 of us. And I went into trauma going, isn't there another apartment that you can give us for free? And it's purely because I haven't had that challenge. and I have these first world problems. And I think both of you bring to the table something that makes it magical. And then that's that we're an international organization. And as an international organization, our experiences are even more diverse and also more the same than anybody realizes. And so when you're looking globally at all of this and the representation that you're doing, what do you see as some opportunities that are global that Kiwanis is getting ready to face that we may not have faced before? Anybody want to just jump in?
Sure. There are places where we aren't, like Ireland.
Yes.
Breaks my heart that we don't have clubs in Ireland, right? So what's the deal with not having clubs in Ireland and England? The growth in the organization right now, the largest growth I think is in places like Nepal and the East.
Yes.
And if that's the case, what are we doing to ensure that we're providing service to them as well as to our North American, South American folks? We have people from all over the world, and some of the most active in our clubs were from those places, from Ecuador, from Michelle lived in Bali, I think, Mohan from Nepal.
Mhm.
And what they need is very distinct from what we need. You couldn't sponsor a hospital in Montana, but they sponsor hospitals in the Philippines and in Malaysia. So are we selling ourselves short in the US, or are there things that we could be providing that we could learn from them? I've lived in Northern Virginia, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, Oklahoma, Texas, and I'm from Montana. And from being a youth minister to being a federal prosecutor, learned a couple things. Yeah, and actually, Aaron, I did that at the same time because it was the only way I could maintain my sanity.
Wow.
But the thing that's the case about no matter where we are is they're people. They're just people like you and me. And they put their pants on one leg at a time, just like you and me. Well, Dennis might jump into his two at a time.
Well, Dennis has skills.
I know, mad
And
skills.
you don't want to take away from the fact that Dennis may have some skills that we don't have.
Dennis is
Dennis
is
is
one of the
want
most.
to know how you know that. I don't know. Do I
He's
want
one
to
of the
know?
most efficient. He's one of the most efficient people I know. He's our club secretary. So,
Kathy, can I just add a little coattail comment to what you're just talking about?
You
Because
bet.
the parts of the world that you mentioned in your comments, Nepal, et cetera, when I sold timeshare back in my younger days, a lifetime ago, we came across people from all walks of life. And I think it'd be safe to say that there are certain cultures in the world today that are more close-knit, family-designed cultures, like families from Mexico, families from some of the Middle Eastern countries, Asia, Israel, just to name a few off the top of my head. Now,
don't forget Sicily.
Sicily, according to John. How he knows that, I have no idea, nor do I really care. But anyway.
That's where the family's from.
Oh, the family. No, I thought that was.
that's the familia.
No, I thought that was Upper New Jersey with Sopranos. But anyway.
Okay, guys, loop it back in.
I'm trying. See what he puts me up to? Okay, but my point is that the countries that you said are currently missing Kiwanis, and I don't know them culturally, although I did meet a lot of folks from Ireland when I sold timeshare, very family friendly also, but perhaps the cultures there are not as family driven, are not as family unit loving 3, 4, and again, I could be talking way off my head, but to me, those countries that you've named where they're naming hospitals after just seem to have a much deeper thread in family commitment and in supporting each other and doing what's right for others much more easily than others. I will stop now.
You know, Dennis was taking notes when you were talking, Kathy, and so I saw that, Dennis. Yeah, you didn't think I saw it.
He always takes notes.
And so I am so curious, Dennis, what did you write down?
I wrote down even before Aaron said it, but I think, again, Kiwanians sometimes think in a bubble, and they don't think about people, countries, and others that aren't like them. And I think what I've learned in working with some of these other countries And I don't mean just New Jersey, but I mean some of these other countries that, sorry, Aaron, I couldn't resist that. Our New Jersey friends, forgive me. But I think
Joey just switched his vote.
I know, but no,
If we
seriously,
can't hear you in a few minutes, you'll know why.
yeah. We need to understand that some cultures don't allow things to happen. Some cultures don't do things the way we do, but they're still good Kiwanians. And those people those Kiwanians learn how to serve the kids in their own way. And again, when it comes to any aspect of a board decision, those things need to be thought about and considered. It goes back to my throw it on the table. If we have an issue come up, it's not just a North American issue. It could be an Asia Pacific. It could be a European. It could be anywhere. And we have to factor that in. It may not be sometimes to their best advantage, but we still have to factor it in. We can't work in a vacuum. And I think that's what I look at when you talk about global. I think we always need we need to understand that people are different, and I think that's where I'm at with this whole global thing. And it's encouraging that we do have other countries that work differently, and we learn from them. We learn from what they do, and we can implement them into our process. Sorry, Joey G.
Well, while you guys are taking a breath, let me just do a quick hard reset. Thank everybody for watching Kiwanis Connects, coming to you live from the WWDBTV studios in Las Vegas, which is still part of the United States, not what Dennis thinks about New Jersey. But anyway, thank you for tuning in. Our phone number, 702-992-3207. I want to challenge anybody out there. Put a question in the chat room that only a Kiwanis International trustee should and could answer. Give us a call, 702-992-3207. Ask your question of these two candidates. We were supposed to have a third one, and I don't know what happened with Matthew, Val. I don't know if you want to go any further with him or mention that he was supposed to be on.
I absolutely do. And he says that he's so sorry that he wasn't able to link in, but he would come in at any point in time and talk with us. He's from Lakeland, Florida. And, there's so much going on in Florida right now. I'm sure his hands are full. And you can take that any way you guys want to.
Okay.
But Dennis and I have had a really strong relationship, and he is definitely about the Kiwanis Ohana. And so as like Matthew, not Dennis. But
I was going to say, you're going to endorse Dennis while I'm sitting here? Come on, man.
I'm endorsing all three of you. If I could endorse anybody, I'm going to get myself in trouble.
I'm so glad I didn't make that mistake.
I was talking about Matthew and put his picture up for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So he was supposed to be here, but the reason I invited you guys is because I know you, and I know that you're real. And so knowing that you're real and knowing where we're headed, I knew that we were going to get some real fun answers about what we're doing. That for both you, Dennis, Kathy, Matthew, I'm pretty jazzed that you're taking on this next step, because from what I understand from talking with Gary Jander last week when he was on our show, is there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And you guys do Kiwanis magic when you're doing the trustee board stuff. And so what are you really looking forward to? It's like when you're elected, or if you're elected in Kathy's case, she was saying, I have Irish roots too, Kathy, and I'm still a win. There are in shows somewhere, Little Red. But what are you looking forward to the most? And I'm going to say, Dennis,
are you going to? Did you want to go to commercial before we do that?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
You get ready to go to commercial when you do
Well,
that.
I'll tell you what, if you want a moment to think on that, John Crawford jumped into the chat room with a question. His question is, do you have any thoughts or concerns about the proposed bylaws revisions?
Great question.
That is
So
a good question.
You can ponder either question you want, although it looks like they're both stumbling. So maybe it is a good time to go to break. So we'll give them a few extra minutes. Woo! We'll give them a few extra minutes to think about it. This time during our break, we're going to actually show you all the two completed commercials that Kiwanis Club, we're not going to do them?
We're going to show one of them.
We're going to show
Allied-
what?
We're going to show Allied Gardens.
John, just go to break already, will you please? The Granville Allied Gardens Kiwanis Club was founded in 1960. We provide service to Allied Gardens, Granville, San Carlos, Del Cerro, and surrounding communities of San Diego. Our support extends to the youth of our community by sponsoring programs at Hearst Elementary School K-Kids, Lewis Middle School's Builders Club, Patrick Henry High School's Key Club, and San Diego State University Circle K. Some of our favorite events and charities we support include the First Friday Concerts in the Park, patriotic holiday flags on Waring Road, Meals on Wheels, Cub Scouts, and the Allied Gardens Little League. Join our club. We are looking for people who care about making a difference for our children, for our community, and for our world. For more information about our Kiwanis Club and becoming a member, please visit www.alliedgardenskiwanis.org. International is a global community of clubs, members, and partners dedicated to improving the lives of children one community at a time. Today, we stand with more than 550,000 members, from K-Kids to Key Club to Kiwanis, for all ages in over 80 countries around the world. Each community has different needs, and Kiwanis empowers members to pursue creative ways to serve the needs of children, such as fighting hunger, improving literacy, and offering guidance. Kiwanis clubs host nearly 150,000 service projects each year. For more information, visit www.kiwanis.org. Well, welcome back to Kiwanis Connects. No, folks, it was not a mistake that you saw two commercials of the same. One was the edited version. The other one, because John screwed up and didn't have the other one ready for us. So you got the same commercial twice. Anyway, he was drunk. Too much. All right. Before we get to their thoughts, just a couple of programming notes, everybody, that I want to share. District Convention coming up in August, 11, 12, 13, 10, 11, 12, whatever that weekend is. That Friday, Kiwanis Connects with Val and I in the same city in Reno. We'll be doing our show live from Decon. Whether John likes it or not, that's one morning he can run the show from his bed if he wants. We'll be doing our show live from convention up in Reno. Also, I want to thank everybody who has watched, and Val, I shared this with you during the week, the episode with Queen Charlotte, that dear young lady, about a month and a half ago. Folks, I want to let you know we have almost 51,000 views just on Facebook for that interview. Please keep sharing it because that's a story that nobody should miss. That's for darn sure. So I wanted to share those two programming notes. With that, we have about 10 minutes, Val, before we go to Val on the road. If you want to do that, it's up to you. But whether you do it or not, John wants to play the intro regardless. So, all right.
You know it. You know it.
So, Kathy, did we stall enough for you to answer either of the two questions?
Sure you did.
Yeah. Do you even remember what they were? That's a good point.
Well, one of them is up here on the screen, so I know what that one is. The other one is, what are you looking forward to? Because I'm always looking forward to something, right? So I read through the bylaws. There were a couple of I think just typing error kind of things that I sent back to Diana O'Brien so that they could get corrected. But as far as concerns about it really, the main thing that it did was put everything consistent. We've made changes over time, and some of those changes made another part inconsistent. We had places where we needed a majority vote to modify the amendments, and places where we needed a 2/3 vote. Now it's a 2/3 vote across the board. So really, it just to me, it simplified a lot of things. There are a couple of things that, as an attorney, I was like, yeah, I don't know that you can dismiss that, but okay, we can put it in the bylaws, kind of thing. With regard to who is a board member who can be served, it was limited to the executive board, and I'm not sure that a court would necessarily agree with that. It may be that the executive board and all of the counselors would be served, so that would mean that trustees could be sued. But if we have it in our bylaws that they're not accountable, then they're not accountable. Like, that's how that goes. I don't really have any concerns about that. Dennis, you want to answer that one before we talk about what we love?
Sure. Again, I've looked at on the convention website. They have the full, which is I've looked at about 150, 170 pages. They have a summary, And in the summary, they list 16 very minor changes. And all the changes that I can find fell in exactly what Kathy said, is that they're reorganizing. You look at something that's been in place 30 years. We've added. And even in the district level, Val, you may have seen this as well. You add things and they don't always end up where they should be. So primarily what this does is repaginate, reorganize, and put things in a logical order that makes sense and people can follow rather than having to jump around. So I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's one that shouldn't take a lot of time, and we can get through it pretty quickly.
Hopefully.
Another question came in from Maria. If you don't mind, let's answer the questions from those that are sending them in. Sure. Maria, here, our Lieutenant Governor in Southern Nevada. I noticed that international district membership numbers, with the exception of the Caribbean and Taiwan, are really struggling. What is happening with that, and how would you, as trustees, address that?
Kathy's jumped in before. I'll jump in real quick, I guess. I think it goes back again to listening to what the governors are having to say. I think that, again, everything's so different. I know, again, I'll jump in. I did listen to Gary's show last week, and I think one of the things kind of is similar to this. Why don't we see certain people? Why don't certain members come? Why don't we're individuals. Everybody's an individual. I think that we have to listen to them, respect the fact that, I'm in my journeys, noon meetings bother me because companies aren't paying for members anymore or as much as they do. And the noon meeting is for that, what used to be for that working person to go to the meeting and go back to work. Now people can't get off work. So I think that affects the time the club meets, affects how many times they meet, affects membership. The thing is, in my opinion, is the meeting is not the crux of our problem. The meeting is not what we're about. We're about that service project. We're about what we give back to the community. We're about showing people that we want to be members. Here's what we do, not who we listen to once a month or once a week at a meeting. It's what we do. And I think that's what we have to be better at. And we have to, again, if as a trustee counselor, that's what my job is, to help districts and clubs see there may be another way of doing it, another innovation of how you can do this, serve the kids. And that's where I see our membership issue.
Okay. Kathy?
If you're committed to making a difference, if you care about kids, if you're out in your community and sharing, people want to join you. And if we're not telling our story, if we're, if you didn't have Kiwanis Connects and you didn't tell the story about what was it? Was it Queen
Charlotte?
Princess Charlotte, yeah.
If you didn't tell the story about Princess Charlotte, nobody would know what was going on with it. Nobody would be able to participate in it. Nobody would be able to join in. If we're not telling the story about what we can provide and what we can do in our communities, people don't even know to join us. I have people who know that I am, like, I got a text message from one of the radio guys the other day that said, "Hey, I know you're the queen of all things Kiwanis. Can you give me XYZ?" But there are still people who know that I am that, but don't know what Kiwanis is.
You mean we're not an Australian airline company?
Not as far as I know. If we are, I want to fly on that airline, and I want one of those little bears.
Right.
And when it comes to membership, I think the thing that we forget is that we're trying to get members, and what's not present for people is them being enrolled in what we do. And if people are enrolled in what you're doing, they're going to show up. You've had people come to your door and try to talk you into coming to their church. You go where you're enrolled. You go where their message connects with your message. Jane Erickson put it really simply when she did her speech when she became international president. She said, "I asked people, do you like kids? Do you want to come to lunch?" And that's how she had people join her for Kiwanis. Do you like kids? Do you want to come to lunch? Because if you don't like kids, there's really no, like that's what we are, right? We're about kids. So if you don't care about kids, then you probably should join Rotary and write checks. Or whatever.
Or partner with us.
A partner with us. Yeah. Rotary in our town writes the checks. That's just how that goes. And I think everybody should be a Kiwanian, but I also think that kids are the most important resource that we have on the planet.
Guys, we have about 9 minutes total left, so I want you guys to go back to the question Val asked before we went to break. Val, can you just repeat the question so those just joining us can know what they're going to be answering?
I'm still in awe, and I'm like fangirling right now with both Kathy and Dennis. So what are you both looking forward to if and when you become international trustee? See how I blended that? Dennis, you want to jump on in?
Sure, I'll jump in. I think that what I'm looking forward is to, again, develop the camaraderie, develop the teamwork, that all of us on the board are working towards a common good, and that's the kids of the world. And I think it's a way we can come together jointly to develop policy, to develop procedures, to give guidance to the new executive director, to give guidance to the new director of the Kiwanis Children's Fund, to help mold how we go into our future. And I think that's what I see is what I'm looking forward to, that I'll be a part of that, using Valerie's endorsement, and just really happy to be asked to run for office. There's 4 of us running, and 3 of us will get elected. But I think all of us share the same goal, is trying to make Kiwanis better than it is yesterday. And so that's where I'm at.
All right, Kathy, we stalled long enough for you now to answer that. 15 minutes already.
Ditto everything Dennis said. No, when I was younger, I was involved in the USJC Women, and there was a time when people said, when one guy said, "My son just asked me, Daddy, what was the JCs?" And it scared me. And it scares me a little bit that there might be a time when somebody's going to say, "What was Kiwanis?" I'm most looking forward to learning from you, finding out what you're passionate about, and sharing that with whoever we can share that with. And I think that's what we have going for us.
There is legacy in Kiwanis that I think people cannot afford to forget about. Before we go to Val on the road, John, our buddy John from YouTube, we sponsor youth organizations. How do we get them and their parents to join us in service to our community? And quite frankly, I think, Kathy, you've already sort of answered that.
Yeah, for us, it's a family. We invite the Key clubs and the Circle K and the Builders clubs. We don't have K kids yet in my community, but we do projects together. And if their parents like what we're doing and we invite them to join, critical point there, we have to invite people to join. People don't step in just out of, hey, I want to do this, unless they're me. They don't just show up and say, I want to join you. So inviting those kids to show up and do stuff with us, and then inviting their parents to join Kiwanis is how we do that. How do you do it? Hey, do you like kids? You want to do something with kids with me? Let's go.
Dennis, your thoughts?
Yeah, a little different direction. And I think, look around the screen here. I'm not going to talk about ages, but, we all come from a different dynamic, and we come from a different culture, and we come from a different age. I think today's youth, people, again, it goes back to that tradition. Well, I did this when I was their age. How come they're not doing it? If we look at our kids today, they're pulled in so many different directions. Their parents, some of us walked to our playground to play ball. We didn't have our parents come and sit in the stands for 2 hours for whatever reason, and so today parents are busy, kids are busy, I'll end with this. Don't give up asking, though.
Yeah.
Don't give up. Keep getting them. Yes, they're involved in our groups, just like our Kathy said, but don't give up when they say, no, I'm too busy.
Nike has the little swoosh that says "Just do it."
Just do it.
We
Yeah.
we need to have a Kiwanis-like question mark that says "Just ask." All right. With that, we have about 5 minutes left. So Val,
Ask means always sell Kiwanis.
there you go. I love that.
Ooh.
My governor 6 years ago brought that up. Always sell Kiwanis.
I love it. Perfect for Taco Tuesday membership drives. Right?
After the last no comes a yes. And
Right.
the future of the world depends on that yes.
You only need one yes to make it happen. All right, Val, we need a short trip. It is time now for Val on the road and John's favorite moment of the day.
I just love that. And if you saw my car right now out in the parking lot, you would think that is exactly what I'm going to look like. The only other sideline is Andy will be in the passenger seat at 11 o'clock. And part of it is because we are in both Nevada and California this weekend and moving forward. So I'm headed out to Carson City to meet with all of our Northern Nevada and Lake Tahoe folks for official governor's visit. I get to dress up and go to the governor's mansion for Nevada. I'm like, it should be a lot of fun. And then tomorrow, we are a part of something that I am so excited about. I'm so stinking proud of our North Modesto Kiwanians. They started something a long time ago called American Graffiti, which is one of the largest car shows in California. And they're tied in with the American Graffiti Museum. And they've gotten so much press in this area. They're expecting 250,000 people to pass through their process from today through Sunday. And so we'll be hanging out with the North Modesto folks for American Graffiti tomorrow. And then on Sunday, we're going to be celebrating our largest club opening and with their charter party in Reading Sundial, which is they're actually celebrating in Shasta, but they have 38 charter members.
Wow.
And they started serving before the ink was dry on their charter. And then next week, we're off to hopefully do a little bit of boosting for the club in downtown Las Vegas to get them open. And then on Wednesday, we're out in Greater Coachella to complete opening that club. There are some people chomping at the bit because they want to start 7 different key clubs out in that area. And the only way to do that is to have a strong Kiwanis club partnering with the Palm Springs Club. So I'm very excited about that. And then it's Juneteenth, and I'm not sure how many states actually celebrate Juneteenth, but I got a couple of them. So I get to do my governor's visit in the week in Fresno, and I'll be a part of the Juneteenth celebrations in Fresno because most people don't realize this. The largest African-American settlement in the late 1800s were in Fresno and the Santa Barbara area in California. And so they have a huge celebration and a fun run. I will not be running, so don't worry about that. No hospitalizations happening with your governor. That will be a part of that. So it's going to be a full fun week. And if anybody wants to join me in any of those places, come on, baby. We're going to have some fun next week on the road.
All right, lots of mileage. We'll catch up on those happenings next week. We are running out of time. Dennis and Kathy, thank you so very much for spending some time with us today. Remember, everybody, if you missed anything that they've said, feel free to go back to the videos tab on Facebook, go to the YouTube video for either WWDBTV or Kiwanis Connects or Roku. In about 72 hours, you can check it out there under the tab. John, I don't know what you're apologizing for, John, out there on YouTube land. I'll take it anyway as a credit for something when I really do something terrible. Okay, as always, we are running out of time. So you know what time it is, Governor Val? It is joke time to send everybody off with a smile.
No!
I know. What can I tell you? This is where the show dives off the cliff right after Val's card there in that little segment there. Here's your question of the day, ladies and gentlemen. What causes dry skin? Do, 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 do. Anybody? Nobody?
I know.
Quiet. Val, nothing?
I'm so bad at these.
What causes dry skin? Towels.
Don't leave your day job,
But
Aaron.
That's why I'm running there right after this. Everybody,
Tip your waitress. He'll be here all week.
right. As always, and I'm so glad they said what they did because they'll love my closing comment. Governor Val, we love you. Dennis, Kathy, thank you so very much. So, everybody, please remember tomorrow, Thoughts Count Anywhere, special time 10 o'clock, Aaron's Hour 12 o'clock. I have some guy named John Stiles who hosts Doing It with Stiles as my guest tomorrow. Listen, he thinks he runs the joints. He wants to come on my show. Anyway, with that, be kind to everybody. Why? We're all we have. See you next week right here on Kiwanis Connects. Thank you for watching.
Bye, guys.